101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is a no nonsense marketing and PR, and of course, the author of the book Laws of Promotion, other than Miss Leslie Smith.
Thank you, Daniel. How are you?
I'm fabulous, fabulous, Miss Leslie. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Of course. So, as you said, I'm Leslie Smith. I started my business, McCormick LA Public Relations, in 1994. So it's been over 30 years now. Started my business working with small businesses and nonprofits primarily, but I've worked with businesses in over 30 industries, small and large, any size. Um, been a subcontractor, prime contractor, you name it. I'm a solopreneur, so I've worked in many capacities over the years. And in 2020, I had this some time. We all had some time on our hands. So I
Yes.
took a presentation that I had been doing for Small Business Council, Women Business Council, Home Based Business Council, those kinds of groups, and put it together into a book. And what we have here. So I took Newton's laws of motion and turned them into the laws of promotion to make marketing and public relations very accessible for somebody just starting their business who didn't necessarily have a background in marketing. And so it's been successful for people. It's very hands on. Um, there's fill in the blanks. There's cartoons to illustrate. There's some downloads in here. It's very simple for people to get up to speed with marketing principles and master that for their own business very quickly, rather than just jumping into promoting their business without a real plan or without real objectives or without thinking it through. So this takes them a step back and walks them through all of the things that they need to know from a marketing perspective. And it's 50 pages. It takes about a half hour to read. So you can get up to speed super quickly rather than that's what I found is that a lot of the small businesses that I would talk to and they would need help and I would come up with a proposal for them, but they didn't have money to do that. They didn't have the means to do that. And there wasn't even a good book for me to refer them to. I could refer them to the workshops I was doing for through the chamber or through the nonprofit partnership, but there wasn't something they could just go to Amazon and put in their cart and absorb. So I needed this. Like even the marketing for dummies is like 200 pages. And if you're just starting your business and you're like, I have some customers, but I should have more. I need to figure out what I'm doing. You don't want to go read a 200-page book. So this makes it super easy and accessible for people. And then I've married it with an online class that's called Boost. So it pretty much goes through this. If you need that little extra help, and there's videos and downloads that and it follows the same trajectory as the book and makes it super simple. So
And Miss Leslie Smith, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you,
oh, a
thank you,
great
thank
studio
you.
audience.
Yes, the title suggests that are the fundamental laws to promotion. What is the most important non-negotiable law that every small business or nonprofit breaks at their own peril?
That would be law one. So, in the laws of motion, a body at rest stays at rest, and a body in motion stays in motion unless acted upon from an outside source. So, in motion, that means in a vacuum, there'd be no outside source, right? A marble would roll on a floor forever. So, and if it's just sitting still, it would just sit. If there's no wind or nothing to push it, then it would just sit still. This happens to people. They start their business. Maybe they're brick and mortar and they put a sign out, and it's a beautiful sign, but it doesn't explain what they do. People are unsure about it. They've looked in and there weren't very many people there. They were, didn't know anything about it. So they pass by. people will join an organization and they'll say, well, I joined my business improvement association, but it didn't really work for me. And then you start asking them questions. Did you go to the meetings? No, I didn't have time. Did you leave your building and go meet your neighbors? No, no, I never really thought about that, but they didn't come to me. I'm the new person. They should have come to me. Nope. So they were a body at rest and stayed at rest. They didn't go use those tools. You know, a hammer doesn't build anything on its own. You actually have to swing it, right? So they stay at rest and they think that somehow they've built this scenario that people were all supposed to help them, or it was sort of this magic thing. There's really no such thing as it sells itself. I mean, I think things that maybe caught on quickly, that was a trend and then it blipped and then it was short-lived. So you really need to get out there and go. And then the body in motion stays in motion. That's 100% true too. If you are out there going to networking breakfasts or and calling up your colleagues for lunch and saying, you know, can I take you to lunch and can you bring someone with you who you think might need my services? And you're going up and down your boulevard and meeting people in, you know, other offices near you or even in the, you know, building that you're in and saying, this is what I can offer. Do you know anybody? How can I help you? How can I refer business to you? Because my clients are X, Y, and Z. And if I meet them, how do I refer you? And being real partners with people, they begin to start having momentum. And it's like when it rains, it pours. So people, the referrals start coming in, and you can keep doing that. Okay, you tell two friends, and you tell two friends, and you tell two friends, and the business keeps growing. So the body in motion stays in motion. So it's the both parts of that law are true for businesses. So you've seen it before, I'm sure.
Interesting, yes, Miss Leslie. Many small businesses owners feel promotion is sleazy or too expensive. How does your
Sure.
book reframe promotion from something they have to do, something they get to do?
Sure. So that's interestingly enough, somebody asked me recently. She's like, I feel awkward posting things on LinkedIn. She's like, I said, then don't do LinkedIn. You have to, it has to fit into your life. It has to fit into your culture. And if that feels icky to you, then you're not going to come off as sincere or authentic. And nobody wants to work with somebody who's not sincere or authentic. They want the real stuff. And that's where I get this moniker of no nonsense marketing and PR. So not only do I give you a 50-page guide instead of a 200-page guide, and here's fill in the blanks, like how simple, you can't get much more simple, right? Just like fill in what you do. And then along those same lines, your promotion, especially for solopreneurs, there's so many consultants out there and they're really selling themselves. If they're selling themselves, people have to trust them and they have to be in an environment promoting themselves that feels authentic to them. So maybe they don't like standing up in front of 50 or 100 people and introducing themselves. That's fine. I think it's something to get over because you know public speaking is a very important skill to learn, and it gives you a lot of credibility when you're comfortable doing that. But if that you're not there yet, then pick up your directory of your whoever your client list are, your target market, and meet them one on one, whether that's coffee or maybe you invite 10 people. Hey, I just thought we had these related things and I just thought it'd be great if we could just meet once a week and talk shop and see how we can help each other, something like that. If that's more comfortable, or if it's one on one, a small group, whatever, then you can grow from there. You have to be able to feel authentic. I've had people who have come to me because they bought into a system that said you have to create a Facebook group. They didn't even have a Facebook page. So building a Facebook group from nothing takes a lot of work, and they felt disingenuous. It wasn't something that was going to work for them. So they bought a system, but it was not customized for them. It was not part of their culture. So they needed instead to be in a group maybe with um, 10 women that were meeting together. That might have been much more comfortable for them than to be chasing people on Facebook, everyone they knew, saying, "Could you please refer people to my Facebook page?" And then keeping up with it, it's all this content and finding just the right photo. It was very hard for her. So that's not unusual, and I think that in this day and age, everybody goes, okay, I've started my business, I have to go to social media, and they don't take a step back and say, how is that going to work for me? Is my ideal client on that channel? And if not, I don't have to be there. So where are they going? I had a group recently, they needed a nurse. It's a client, and they needed to hire a nurse, and they were looking on LinkedIn. I'm like, nurses aren't on LinkedIn during the day. If they're already working, they're in think about what their day looks like, right?
At night.
So they may be there at night, and then okay, go to LinkedIn and start search for nurses and see how many people are there. They're not
Mm.
It's not a big thing there. Maybe nurses in leadership, maybe nurses who teach, nurses who, are leading their, RN association or something like that. They're more active on a place like LinkedIn. But more nurses are going to be on Instagram or Facebook during their downtime, just as socially scrolling, looking at their friends and their family members and that kind of stuff. And then a pop-up ad for them would be really great on Facebook or Instagram or something like that. So you catch them in their own habitat kind of thing. But you need to think that through. So just thinking, well, I'm hiring and it's a job, so therefore it's LinkedIn. Well, there's more to it than that. There's those demographics and psychographics. So those come into play so much. So it's not just, if something follows a certain demographic pattern, whether it's men, women, age, ethnicity, race, geography, even, or it could be a psychographic issue. When are those people looking here? And so you would be clever to that. So if you know that maybe nurses are scrolling through, on Facebook at 9 p.m. or something, then you could say, you hardworking nurse, stop scrolling for a minute. We have a better job for you. That may stop them.
Yes.
Right? So thinking about who you're trying to attract and then creating the messaging that speaks to them as a singular person.
Yes.
Did
So
I
what is the
answer your
biggest
question?
Yes, definitely. So what's the biggest mindset shift you had to help your readers make before any of the practical laws could even work?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. I think what a lot of people assume when they start their business is that promotion is easy. So when they've come to my book or come to me for help, they realize this is a different skill set. And it's tasks that they can do, but they've never thought that way before. They haven't thought about what's it mean to be my client? What are things that are important to them? What do they think about? Different things. Like I know I'm going to work with wealthy women, say, but then what's super important to them, and when you're talking to them, like maybe what's important to them is that you are as well dressed as they are, that you're as well groomed as they are, that you're like, you need to mirror them, right? So my clientele is not necessarily wealthy women, but if it was, I mean, I won't turn a wealthy woman down, but that's not my client. I would get manicures. I do a lot of crafts, and I clean my own house, so I rarely have a fancy manicure. I wouldn't go meet a wealthy woman with these hands. I would go get my nails done or put on some press-ons or something and dress up and show up on time, right? Mirror them as much as possible. That's step 1. Then go from there. Like what other than thinking about all of your branding and how that works to attract the right clientele. And that some of them haven't thought that, or they have an idea, and this happens too also. They have an idea of what the name of their company is going to be, but they haven't thought it through the lens of the marketplace. Right? So they come up with an
Yes.
idea that might mean something different from the time they came up with the idea. Right?
Yes, definitely. So, Miss Leslie, as an author, and of course, a no nonsense marketing and PR, what are your short term and long term goals?
What are my short term and long term goals?
Yes,
Is that what you said?
please. Yes.
Okay. Well, I have some things coming up next year. So I'll be, um, I'm not going to unveil them quite yet, but I do short term. I want to issue my next book, which will be on branding. So that should come out by the first quarter of next year. I have some other exciting things that are happening. Let's say my target market is going to be working with a lot of second act business professionals. So they've maybe been in corporate for a while or a long time, big career, and they're retiring and they're moving into something new. That's the group I want to help starting next year. So I have
Mm,
some other programs that are coming out for them, but they're not quite ready to be unveiled.
good luck for your goals, Miss Leslie, and looking
Thank
forward for
you.
more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Yes, so very good. So don't overcomplicate things. I think when people get frustrated or they get aggravated, then they go, it must be very complicated, and they build this idea that it's monumental and difficult, and it doesn't have to be. It can be very simple to promote your business, to market your business, to be successful. Just don't overcomplicate it. Don't buy into anything that's 25 steps. Doesn't need to be 25 steps. Three laws to promote yourself.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And thank you for that advice, Miss Leslie. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Okay, well, besides my own book, there is the Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements was a life-changing book for me. Again, it's four things. Be impeccable with your word, don't make assumptions, don't take anything personally, and always try your best.
Always try your best. Yes. Thank you for that recommended book, Miss Leslie.
Sure thing.
And tell us, what is one old rule of promotion that your book actively debunks and replace with more modern, effective law?
Oh, well, the okay, so it's scalability. So the second law is force equals mass times acceleration. And a lot of times I'll start talking to people, they get weird about their names. And so like you can have a name that is like Starbucks or a Target that doesn't it's not store that has everything. It's Target. It's not coffee shop, it's Starbucks, right? And brand it. And people go, "Oh, but they have millions of dollars." But Starbucks didn't start with millions of dollars, but they did always go by the name Starbucks. You lean into what you feel strongly about and make sure it's not offensive in the marketplace and make sure that it's going to stand out to people, and then market it. In two, you don't have to have millions. You need to start with the right scale. So force equals mass times acceleration. Force is how much promotion you have to do. Mass is the size of your business, and acceleration is your goals and how soon you want to get there. Okay. So when you think of it that way, so Starbucks didn't say, we're going to have a coffee shop on every corner. Well, they might have known that was their long term vision, but they didn't have to promote to that level when they started, when they were a little coffee cart or one single thing in Pike's Place in Seattle. They just had to be able to promote there, and they had to build that audience there and then venture out. So it's totally fine to start small. You don't have to have millions to start. That's a fallacy. You start on your scale and then you grow from there. So that is something that I will debunk for you. So if you want to have a clever name, you just have to make sure it sticks and people go, "What's that?" It's
Yes.
Starbucks. They have their own, Starbucks has their own language for everything. Like it's not small, medium, and large. It's
Mm.
tall, vente, grande, right? Trente. So you just have to you create your own world for people to step into, and that's okay.
So, if you could only be known for one law for from this book, which one would be and why?
Okay, well, I think so the third law, which is the one I haven't mentioned yet, is for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. And this really gets to the heart of the ethics of your business. Because if you for small businesses, that can be applied to getting like a bad review. And a bad review for a small business can mean a lot more than, say, a bad review for something large like Starbucks or Disneyland or something where it's one of millions of reviews and it hardly ticks down their score. But for a small business, that can mean a lot, and you're building on your reputation. So if something bad happens, one, you need to find out if it happened, right? Before you just freak out and go, "What a jerk that person is leaving a bad review." Find out if it happened. If it happened, you need to make it good. You need to be forward thinking and upright and tend to whatever the issue was. And then you need to publicly apologize to that person and go beyond. So it's more than equal and
Hmm.
opposite. So if somebody gives you a nasty review, you don't get nasty right back. That's not opposite. So you want to reverse that. "I'm so sorry this happened. I've spoken to that employee and I've heard that what you're saying actually did happen. And I'm mortified to hear that. I'm going to take care of things with the employee. I'd like you to come back. Here's we have a gift certificate waiting for you, and please bring some friends." Something of that nature. So the public sees what you are doing and they owned it, because the truth always comes out. That's 100% true, right? The truth always comes out, and it may be many years, but the truth always comes out. So you don't want to bank on, "Oh, I'll be dead before they find out." Like that's awful. So you want to make sure that you are doing things on the up and up, taking the high road, and so that people feel comfortable with you and people know that you're standing behind your products and your services.
Miss Leslie, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in third season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, and music 101 in fourth season. And my baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health and Bible Verses 101, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Leslie, for the listeners or viewers who feeling completely overwhelmed and stagnant, what is your one piece of encouragement to get them to open your book and take the first step today?
You can do this. It is not complicated. You are a smart person. You can master this and you can do it. And if you're having problems, call me.
Yes, definitely. Call Miss Leslie Smith. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So
Thank you.
can you please invite the listeners to support your advocacy, your book, or any projects that you're doing right now?
Absolutely. So I'd love to have you along on the journey. If you're interested in hearing what I'm going to be doing next year, please sign up for my e-newsletter. That's at mccormickla.com, mccormickla.com. And you can buy my book in English and Spanish. And I have another book that we didn't even talk to today on Amazon in Kindle and in print. So thank you very much.
Yes, people, support Miss Leslie Smith because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Leslie, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.